Our first speaker is Sharon Gayoso. And let me tell you a little bit about Sharon, because you've not met her yet for our attendees and our viewers. Sharon became a warrior in this fight in 2014 when her husband was diagnosed with malignant pleural mesothelioma. So not only is Sharon a warrior, but their entire family have become warriors in this fight. I'll turn the floor over to Sharon.
Hi, everybody, and thank you, Linda, for inviting me to speak at this very important conference. I live in Miami, Florida, and I'm very proud to be speaking on mesothelioma and other asbestos-related diseases to showcase why we must take action to ban this lethal substance. My journey with mesothelioma began in 2014, and like you, this asbestos-related disease has changed me, my family, all my relatives forever. My husband was a newspaper reporter, and he then became a litigation attorney. We never anticipated that asbestos exposure in his late teens would cause a deadly illness. And the photo that you're viewing is our core four at the very beginning of Jay's journey. I learned about the ADAO in 2015 when I met Linda in person finally in 2018 at a live conference. And her passion for the immediate eradication of asbestos use and importation was and still is inspiring. I wholeheartedly agree with her and my late husband's surgeons, Drs. Flores and Wolf, that no asbestos, no mesothelioma. Let's think about that phrase for just a minute. It's genius in its simplicity. And together, we all have the power to prevent this cancer. Together, we need to make a stand. And together, we need to let our government know that life is more important than corporate profit. I would like to focus my talk on three specific questions. How did we get here? Why did these companies use such a harmful substance? And is there anything we can do about it right now? To answer question number one, we gather here today because for more than 50 years, asbestos has been incorporated into about 3,000 plus products as a fireproofing agent. During these 50 years, from the Great Depression to the fall of the Berlin Wall, asbestos was referred to as a miracle mineral, and its use ranged from the insulation on a boiler to the fake snow sprinkled on a Christmas tree. And many of you may remember the snowdrift product growing up as a child. I know I do. Asbestos as an idea was so integrated into our social conscious that the comic book company Marvel invented characters named Asbestos Lady. She was popular on a comic book in 1947 known as the Human Torch. And then there was also Asbestos Man. He made his debut in 1963. And strangely, as much as the comic book is named Strange Tales, asbestos also followed suit in those years on a multitude of products. Later, we the public would learn that asbestos is not a miracle mineral. In fact, we also learned that the companies who produced the asbestos-containing components lied to us. And we now know that these companies sold us death masquerading as a miracle. Now, you may think that the story ends there, but there is no way that the companies would still incorporate a death agent into their products. But we were wrong. The fight is not over. There are no safe levels of asbestos exposure, and the substance must be banned once and for all. So to answer the first question, how did we get here? We're here today because asbestos use and importation is still not banned in the United States. And together we must join as one and do what we should have done 50 years ago and ban the substance once and for all. To answer question two, companies who incorporated asbestos into their products were not the first, and they'll certainly not be the last to make dangerous products. As we are all aware, harmful substances are used daily. We know that gasoline is flammable. We know that TNT explodes. And we know that carbon monoxide inhalation is toxic. However, the difference between asbestos and the use of these other harmful substances is that the producers of asbestos-containing products neglected to inform us about the dangers associated with their products. These manufacturers took away our ability to choose, our free will, our right to know. So in answer to the second question, why did these companies use such a harmful substance? We now know they used asbestos because these companies chose profit over a loved one's life. This article in the Harvard Business Review by Bill Sells, a Johns Manville manager, details the known connection between asbestos and lung cancer since the 1930s, as well as Johns Manville's denial. The company was unwilling and unable to believe in the long-term consequences of these known hazards. And finally, to answer question 3, is there anything we can do now? Absolutely. There are several things we can do. First, let's congratulate the ADAO, Linda and her team, for their legal victories against the EPA, which will help to shape the future of asbestos reporting and legacy asbestos risk evaluation. We can also help the ADAO by calling on Congress to pass the Alan Reinstein Ban Asbestos Now Act. This legislation would ban the manufacturing, processing, importation, use, and distribution of 6 forms of asbestos in the United States. And second, patients should retain the best asbestos-focused law firms in their country and hit the asbestos manufacturers where it hurts, in their wallets. How do you know which firm to choose? You choose a firm that specializes in asbestos litigation. You choose a firm that publicly discloses its trial verdicts. You choose a firm where third-party publications like US News and World Report discusses the firm's success. And of course, you do your own research. You refrain from calling the legal marketing firms advertised on TV, those 1-800 numbers. And you should understand that there are statutes of limitations in which you can file a claim, and this varies by state. Finally, we need to raise public awareness and provide education about the dangers of asbestos. Together, we all need to follow ADAO and Linda's lead. We need to become more involved in the Asbestos Disease Awareness Organization and join us in educating and advocating and being a part of our community. The final slide shows my husband, Jay, in his last public viewing. He's with my son at the Rangers game. And what you don't see, and what I highlighted in the text, is that Andrew was carrying his oxygen. He could barely make it up the steps. No one should have to endure what my family and so many others have endured. But together, we can all make a difference. Thank you. I appreciate you listening.
And Sharon, thank you so much. Thank you for your strong and powerful voice. We're all with you. Thank you very much for sharing those words and photos.
Thank you. I appreciate being here.